Welcome back to Your Questions Answered. In these videos, I'm taking the questions that I get asked either through Instagram, through the Team Macro Golf platform, from my clients, anything that's a little bit of a common question or a question I think would be useful for many of you that will get access to this video. And I'm just going to try and answer it in a slightly longer form, to give you a little bit more information, a little bit of detail behind the answer, instead of it just being something quick as an Instagram reel or a TikTok. So a little bit more detail into some of these answers, and hopefully you'll take some value from the questions that are being answered here. If you want to put a question forward, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you can either send something to me directly through YouTube, or in the bottom of this video, there is a link for you to be able to join Team Macro Golf for free, where you're going to get all of content that's kind of needed to answer some of these questions in longer form, articles, videos on mobility, and loads of different stuff. For you guys, welcome team that are watching here on Team Macro Golf. And for you guys, you can just send me a direct message, or you can send me a message through the app, and I'll make sure that your question is answered. I'm looking to put these videos together at least once a month now. So if you ask a question, it will get answered within that month. For today, we have 5 questions that I'm going to be answering. These are the 5 questions that I'm going to be answering. So feel free to just kind of jump forward on the video to get the question that you want answered. What I'll do is I'll stick the question at the bottom of this video so you can quite easily skip forward and find the answer to the question that might interest you the most, just so you don't have to spend the whole time watching this whole video if you don't want to. So 5 questions we can go through, a real mixture of topics for today, and I'm really going to try and jump into a little bit of detail and give you some value on all 5 of these topics and all 5 of these areas. So question number 1, we're going to jump straight in, is how should I prepare my food or my breakfast for an early morning tea time? Now, this is a great question, and I love the kind of part within this question that I really like is the fact that they're talking about preparing food. And so there's already an aspect here in whoever's asked this question and by the way, these questions are all anonymous, don't worry, that they understand that there's some kind of preparation needed to make sure that we're going to get some kind of correct nutrition or hydration for an early morning tea time. And that's a key factor with this, and it's something I talk about a lot with my clients, and a lot in discussions that I have, is we need to be prepared to understand the fact that we're going to need to prepare, right? But like, we can't just expect, especially in nutrition, to just be able to grab whatever's convenient for us and expect that to be the best thing if we've got some kind of sporting performance or weight loss goal, whatever it'll be, right? So I like the fact that we're already talking about preparation. And if we allow the fact for us to understand that we're going to need to have preparation, this question becomes quite easy to answer, to be honest, because we generally know what is going to be a good breakfast for us. I think if I was asked most of you guys watching this video what would be a great breakfast to have before playing golf, you're going to say something that's going to give us enough energy to get around the course. Yes, something that's going to maybe avoid big, heavy, fat, full fried, sugary foods. Yes, and some kind of something we like, right? We're not going to want to have something we don't like. So with that in mind, this is quite an easy question to answer. I like it, starting on an easy one. So I'm going to give it to you as what my answer would be. For an early morning round, it's really important that we are able to take something with us quick. That's going to be the key, right? When we're teeing off early, we don't want to be spending time in the morning playing around making food. So anything we can prepare the night before and take with us first thing in the morning, or anything we can make quickly in the morning, is going to be a great way to go in terms of preparing some food for an early morning tee off. The most important part of this is we need to be able to take something that's going to give us the energy to help us get through the round. So we need to be able to take stuff with us that's going to get us through without needing to rely on being able to pick up stuff halfway around halfway hut or at the club shop or whatever it will be. Okay. So the key for this is, what can we get that's going to be able to easily take with us on the course in our bag that's going to give us everything we need and can be convenient. Here are some ideas. One, and one that I do a lot, is a protein shake. You can add some oats to that. You can add some fruit to that. And generally that's what I have for breakfast anyway. And it's something that I recommend a lot of my clients to have for breakfast. So actually we don't need to change that even if we've got an early morning tee off. And this is one of the biggest tips I can take from this question as well, is if you can have what you would normally have for breakfast on these days, that's going to be perfect, right? Because you're not changing anything to do with your stomach. Any of your what you're used to is not going to change. And that's going to be really useful. So I'm starting to blabber, so I'm going to make this concise. Prep food, early morning tea time. The best advice I can give is have something that you're going to enjoy and something you're going to eat. There's nothing worse than trying to force yourself to have something you don't want, because you're going to end up not having it. Make something that's convenient. I would recommend a protein shake with some oats, with some fruit, something you can just take with you in your bag. and definitely something that's going to give you enough fuel to get round the full 18 holes without needing to rely on having to purchase more things and try and find something at the golf course that's going to fulfill your needs. So depending on what you like to have, that is going to obviously determine what you make, but something convenient that you can take with you and go that is going to give you the energy to get through the 18 holes. I think I answered that question. If you feel like I didn't answer that question, whoever answered this, send me a message and say you didn't answer that very well. I'll be happy to answer it again. But I feel like this is a lot of personal preference. What do you enjoy eating? What do you normally have for breakfast? If you just normally have some toast, you probably could just quickly make some toast and take it with you. So whatever you prefer, whatever you like, but make sure you're going to give yourself something that's going to fuel you for the 18 holes. That's the biggest advice I can give. Thank you to whoever answered that question, and I apologise if I didn't answer it properly, but that is the best answer I can give without knowing what your personal preference is for breakfast. So, question number 2. This is my favourite question of all 5, but I'm going to do them in the answer in the order they were given. So, question number 2 is my favourite, and this is going to be definitely up my street when you hear it. So, what is the best way to get ready for golf after a long day at work sat at my desk? What a question. What a question. So what we need to think about with this is what damage is being done to the body when we're sat at our desk constantly for 8 hours. Okay. If we understand what damage is being done when we're sat at our desk for 8 hours at work, then we get a better understanding of what we're going to need to do to repair that damage to then allow us to go and play our best golf. Right. That's what I'm trying to get out with this kind of answer. If we're sat at a desk for 8 hours, let's think of this generically. Our hips are going to get tight, our thoracic spine's going to get tight, our shoulders are going to get tight, our neck's going to get tight. So we need to do something to release off all 4 of those areas. We're also probably going to be lacking a little bit of food in terms of hydration, nutrition, in terms of if we've kind of worked up until 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we're going to need to think what we're going to need to eat to help us get through that next 18 holes. And I think also for this is what can we do for our mindset? If we're leaving work after 8 hours of desk job, maybe there's a little bit of stress involved, maybe it's going to take us a little bit of time to get focused. So something we can do to prepare ourselves to engage our brain ready for that activity is going to be useful as well. Okay, so I'll try and again do a little bit of a quick summary on this answer for what I would recommend. So if we're sat at a desk for 8 hours at work, there's definitely going to be some things we're going to need to do before we go and play golf, or to give ourselves the opportunity of playing our best golf. So number 1, we need to free up the areas that have been restricted from being sat down all day. So 100% we need to work on the hips, we need to work on the thoracic spine, we need to work on the shoulders, and we're going to need to work on the neck. A sufficient warm-up that is going to work on all of those areas will be good enough to repair some of that damage to at least get you to the point to be able to go and play around about the level that you would normally play at. The next part will be in terms of some nutrition. So if we've finished a full day of work, we're probably going to need some kind of nutritional hydration to help us then get through either 18 holes, 9 holes, or practice, whatever it is we're going to go and do after work. And I would definitely say the third thing is looking at the mindset and how can we shift our mindset from a work-based kind of stressed mindset into the mindset we're going to need to have to go and play our best golf. So I'd probably say that it's threefold in that sense. We need to go and look after our body, then look after our nutrition, hydration, and then go and look after our mindset. And I think that doing all 3 of those things is not too difficult. It just, again, takes a little bit of preparation. Probably going to need to get to the course 10 minutes early to have a little bit of a warm-up. Probably going to need to make sure we've got some food prepared to take with us, similar to the first question. And also we're going to need to probably spend 5 minutes just re-engaging our mind, clearing our thing, maybe putting our phone away in our bag and not looking at it after work, and just getting ourselves into that clear mindset of work's finished, golf now starts, and all of my attention is now in this present moment on the golf course. I'm much happier with that answer than I was to the first question because it's definitely my area of interest. So thank you to whoever answered that question. I think that is very relevant to many people watching this video, many people that I work with for sure. And it's definitely something that I think is a key factor, especially now with the summer coming, of how we can move from the desk to that first tee box as efficiently and as quickly as possible. So hopefully you can take those tips away and that's going to help improve your game. So next one is a great question as well. These are all good questions because if they're not good questions, I don't answer them, just so you know that. The next question is, how important is sleep for my golf performance? This is a great question, right? I'm a little bit tired today. I didn't get much sleep last night. Definitely, I'm finding it harder to get my words out in this video. This is how it works, right? We are humans, we work, we're busy, we have jobs, families, whatever it is, and our sleep is not as consistent as it always is, and we'll notice the day after we're a little bit sleep deprived, it's actually a little bit harder to perform in terms of our mental capacity, in terms of our physical capacity. Our decision making is a little bit blurred, our concentration is a little bit off. That is all relative also to the golf course. So you'll notice if you don't sleep very well before you play golf, it takes you a little bit of time to get going. Okay, maybe you make a little bit of a lazy decision. Maybe you don't go through a full pre-shot routine or your post-shot routine or whatever it is. What it will also do is it's also going to affect your physical ability. So we're actually going to be limited in our power, our mobility is going to be affected, our recovery is going to be affected, and it actually also affects kind of all of these aspects in one. So without saying that without getting 8 hours of sleep, you're not going to be able to go and play golf, it is going to have a significant detrimental effect on your performance, for sure. So, going back to the direct question, how important is sleep for your golf performance? Is very important, okay? There's no, this amount of sleep will perform good, like, you need to get 8 hours to be able to play golf, no. However, the better quality sleep you have, and the better duration of sleep that you have, for sure, the better physical and mental state you're going to be in to be able to play your best golf. Okay, if we're lacking sleep, we're not going to recover as well. We're not going to be as powerful. We're not going to be as mobile in terms of a physical sense. Our decision making is going to be blurred. Our concentration is going to be off. We're going to rush our decisions. We're going to rush our pre-shot routine and our post-shot routine, and we know that that is going to have an effect on our golf performance. So, in terms of how we can come over that, and in terms of what we can do if, for example, lifestyle gets in the way and we end up losing sleep, what can we do about that? There's definitely things we can do in terms of taking naps throughout the day. There's great research to show that with like a 20-minute nap throughout the day has a great effect on reducing a lot of those negative effects of lack of sleep. So just taking 20 minutes out your day can be a real benefit to then go in and improving the golf performance maybe in the afternoon. So if you are someone who struggles with lack of sleep, either through family, work commitments, stress, whatever it is, there's definitely some things you can do to help improve that throughout the day, and maybe a nap could be a great opportunity for you to kind of reduce some of this damage. But it definitely will have an effect. It will have an effect on your performance in the gym as well. It will have an effect in your work life, your relationships, everything. Sleep is so important. But in terms of golf performance, yes, it will definitely make a difference. And it's on a sliding scale of how much that will affect you. Obviously, personal effects, and also how much sleep are we actually being deprived of, and how much sleep are we used to. I think I answered that question. I'm pretty confident I answered that question. And it's a great question. I love questions that are a little bit outside the box. And sleep is definitely something that interests me. So, fantastic question for whoever sent that in. Question number 4. What is the best way to lose weight without affecting my golf performance? Again, this is a great question. As I said, I don't answer any bad questions. And I love this question for so many reasons. You might have seen I've done a video and I've done a few articles on golf and weight loss. It's definitely an area that interests me a lot. And kind of some of the conclusions that I've come to is golf, being overweight doesn't necessarily affect your golf performance, but the characteristics that cause you to become overweight probably are affecting your golf performance, like lack of movement, poor nutrition, and all of the other things that are going to affect us gaining weight. So what I like about this question is we're looking at, obviously we're making a positive change. We're assuming that this person needs to lose some weight for health reasons, and they understand that they're going to be making some changes in a positive way to help them lose weight. Maybe they're going to improve their nutrition, maybe they're going to exercise more, and they're going to improve their daily movements, right? Great. But what they're talking about here is losing the weight, in terms of losing body weight and losing potentially strength or power, going to affect their golf performance? And it's a great question. It's something that doesn't always get considered when people do it. I'm struggling to think of the golfer's name now, so if you remember this person, stick it in the comments. There was definitely a professional golfer that went through a process of losing weight. They lost a significant amount of body fat, and they basically struggled on tour, and they came back and ended up putting some weight back on and started playing better. So it's interesting. I think the key one for this is, how are we planning on losing this weight? Okay, if we're planning on losing this weight through extreme dieting, extreme starvation, restricting ourselves from all the things we like, and kind of like brutality on a treadmill, burning calories left, right, and center, and doing really long, boring, intense cardio sessions, then I'll probably say that it's not just going to affect your golf performance, it's also going to affect your mindset. You're going to be miserable. You're probably not going to have great relationships. Your work life's going to suffer, and it's probably just not a great place to go. Okay, so in terms of when we're thinking about weight loss, that would what I would say could be a positive negative is we go down this kind of route of being miserable. Basically, I'm just going to put it as being miserable. So as long as we're not doing that, as long as we're not forcing ourselves down a route that is fully restrictive, tedious dieting and intense cardio, there's not really any reason why losing weight should affect your golf performance. There's no science out there to say that having this amount of body fat is beneficial compared to this amount of body fat in terms of a golf swing. So I don't see that there's going to be any direct negative effect on the golf swing mechanics. What we might need to consider is if you are going through a process of losing weight, maybe your energy levels are slightly reduced, maybe you're a little bit fatigued, maybe you're a little bit miserable, and all of those things might then have effect on your golf performance. Maybe you don't have as much energy as you're finishing the last 9 holes. Maybe you get a little bit impatient with your pre-shot routine because you're a little bit grumpy from not having the food that you like. Maybe you get a little bit irritable with your playing partners because you're hungry and you want to eat, and that affects then how fast you play, and then you get in the mood, and then all of the performance goes downhill, right? So I would say that there's no direct effect on losing weight on your golf performance, but we need to be considerate of how we're losing this weight. We need to not go into the fact of just starving ourselves for the fact of losing weight. We need to not do things that are going to make us miserable, and we need to make sure we're trying to maintain as much energy as possible while we're losing that weight, okay? I would generally say if you lose the weight in the correct way, with just a little bit of control of your calories, a little bit of extra movement, and making sure you're recovering well, then there shouldn't be any reason why you can't lose a little bit of weight and have no effect at all to your golf performance. But if anyone remembers that golfer that went through this process, 100% send me their name, so I want to look into that. Thank you guys, I trust in you guys. Perfect. Question number 5, and our final question for today is, I have just joined a gym and I have no idea what I should do. Great question. Oh, it's more of a statement than it is a question, but it's still a good question. So with this, if we are a complete beginner to training the gym or to resistance training, and we're looking to join a gym and participate in resistance training to improve our golf performance, the best thing for us to go and do is just start doing some basic movements and working on our strength. As simple as that. Think of the movements of a squat, hinge, push, pull, carry, jump could also be included in there. And basically just try and get stronger in all of those positions and all of those movements. It's as simple as that, okay? You might then want to start adding a little bit of rotation, maybe a little bit of anti-rotation, maybe some more sophisticated movements in terms of power. But if you're just starting out and you've just joined a gym, just try and get stronger in those key movements, okay? That is just going to be at least the first 3 months of your process, okay? Just go in, get stronger, improve your ability to move, improve the amount of weight that you can withstand, improve the amount of force that you can produce, and just see what happens to your golf swing. Just see what happens. Just see how you feel when you swing the golf club. Just see how you feel when you're in the gym and you're training. Just see how you feel in day-to-day movements. And I can pretty much guarantee you're going to feel a million times better. So something I see very, very often is people just going in overcomplicating it from the beginning. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be sophisticated and complex. You just need to go in and get stronger on key movements. Start to produce some power, start to increase the amount of power you can produce, and just see what happens. That's all I'm going to say for now. I'm not going to give any more information to whoever asked this question because they're going to go and try and jump in on level 100. If you just joined, go and get strong, get familiar with the exercises, get familiar with the machines, go and learn how you move, find any weaknesses you've got, work on them, build a solid foundation, and off the back of that, you're really going to notice a difference in day-to-day movements, golf performance, and everything else. That was a quick answer, but it's the best answer. So if that person wants any more assistance, just let me know. But keep it simple. Keep it simple. Good. 5 questions down, and that ties up this episode of Your Questions Answered. Remember, guys, if you've got any questions, all you need to do is, for you guys watching on YouTube, just drop it into the comments or send me a direct message. There's also a link for you guys to join Team Macro Golf, and I really recommend that you do that because you get access to these videos and you get access to so much more content within that platform. For those of you as part of the team already and watch this video as part of Team Macro Golf, all you need to do is send me a direct message or drop a comment below this video in the app, and I'll get your question answered in the next episode. But until then, guys, thank you for joining me on this series, and I look forward to seeing you next month.